Hello? Hi, yeah, we need to talk. I'm sorry, it's just not working out. I think we should break up. It's not me, it's not even you, it's your boring brand.
Welcome to the Boring Brand Breakup, the podcast for brands with big dreams stuck in the loop of same old boring marketing tactics. It's time to break up with your crusty dusty marketing and build a brand your customers can't help but fall in love with. I'm Janisha, your host and the chronically online 2000s rom-com obsessed founder and resident wordsmith at Good Hearted Studio, the go-to copywriting studio for do-gooder brands with a mission to make the world a better place. We're popping the cherry on this potty with a mini-series on building the foundations for a swoon-worthy brand. Why am I doing this? Because after working in marketing for years, I was so sad seeing my favorite brands disappear when I could see front and center the red flag mistakes they're making that are hurting their chances of success. In my opinion, there's no reason why a low budget should equal a boring brand. So I'm arming you with this juicy podcast series combining my best advice and recommendations, plus the brains of some of my fave brand marketing powerhouses. Even better, I'm pairing this up with a handy downloadable guide so you can take your knowledge, fresh creative ideas, and put it all into action. Okay, cell phones on silent, the show's about to begin. Let's get into it. Look, you've probably been told PR is important for growing your brand. Or maybe you've seen those cute as seen on features on the websites of brands you look up to and thought to yourself, I can only dream of a day my brand is big enough to get picked up by a massive publication like that. The truth is, this isn't the case. The world of PR is much more accessible than it seems. But I totally get it. PR feels big and scary and confusing. Even for someone like me who has worked in marketing for over 7 years, I know a bit about PR, but a lot of it still feels like there's some secret I'm not being let in on. So in this episode, I wanted to give you the industry secrets for all things PR, offline events, collaborations, and community building for your brand. Plus, how to create synergy between your offline and online marketing efforts to really get the most out of everything you do. To do so, I've joined forces with your go-to gal for curating your organic marketing ecosystem, Lillie Gillam from Isabella Studio. Before diving into her own business, Lillie cut her teeth in the industry managing the marketing efforts for one of the biggest regional tourism organisations in Australia. In a time when the world was forced indoors and the tourism industry was flipped on its head, Lillie took what it means to foster community and build relationships with your audience to a whole nother level. It's safe to say Lillie knows the power of community in marketing and in life, let's be real. Lil is an organic marketing and PR powerhouse with oodles of first-hand experience and knowledge. So let's pick her brain to help you make the most of your brand's efforts and break up with your boring marketing tactics. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I really want to chat to you about PR because you've done a lot of fun things we've seen here and there on Instagram and heard from everyone. So I'm really keen to hear about kind of just like what PR is and like if you're, like a baby brand and you haven't done anything and you don't really know where to start with your marketing. I know that there are really good ways because PR is so organic. Yeah. It's so trusted by people as well. But just getting into it seems really overwhelming for a brand because it just feels like unless you're working with a PR agency or you have the right connections, you just don't really know what to do. And also PR is so vague, no one really knows what it is. Like even I work in marketing for like 7 years and I don't really know what it is. So I would love to hear from you a bit about it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's such a broad area of marketing, but traditionally PR is like getting in magazines, newspapers, product placement in publications and film and TV and things like that. These days it's a lot more intertwined with digital. So it's like, digital placements, sending out PR packages, getting your product in the right hands for getting the most reach as possible. One thing that people have found really difficult about PR in the past is return on investment because it's not always super clear. It's hard to calculate return on investment in PR because you can send out a media release and get mentioned in a publication that has millions and millions of readers, but you're not going to necessarily get millions and millions of sales. And same as like if you send a product to Kylie Jenner, you're probably going to get more sales, but it just depends. I feel like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really, it's a hard industry because the return on investment is hard to calculate unless you're seeing direct sales from what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to look at it is maximum exposure and sort of measuring it on that.
Yeah. I also just feel like, because anytime that I have recommended to like clients where I've had them on for like socials or anything like that, usually I'm ending up just giving them a lot of unsolicited advice to ask for, because I'm like, you need it.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, oh, you should work with a PR agency, you should do this. And that's just where I tell them to start, because I don't know heaps about it, but I know it's super important.
Yeah.
And I just am like, I know that having on your website the little features for as seen in and all those kinds of things will be super, super valuable for social proof.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even if you're not actually getting the, you know, millions of views on your website from people coming directly from the publication that has millions of readers, it's more because it's like you get to be associated with them. And then the same way that it's like Kylie Jenner might just like, there might just be a glimpse of it somewhere. And like you've shared that to your socials and people are like, wow, that's really cool. But like, they're probably not really coming from like whatever she shared. It's just more that you get to be like, yeah, she talked about me.
Totally.
It's really exciting.
And I think with little things like that, you see a spike really soon after, you know, that happens. So say Kylie Jenner wears a piece of your clothing, then you probably see a spike in sales really soon after that. And unless you keep going, that's another thing about, you know, working with someone who is well versed in PR, is like you need to keep that momentum going, or you need to keep some sort of community initiative going, leveraging the success that you see in your PR efforts. So if you get an article in the Courier Mail, if you get a story on Channel 7 or whatever it is, knowing how to leverage that success into future sales is really important.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that a lot with everything when people are on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not wanting to get a deal from the sharks or anything, it's like, it's really good exposure in PR. And so people will like milk that forever. And you should, as you should, like really just keep going on about it.
Keep milking
Yeah,
it.
like keep telling people that you're on Shark Tank over and over. And I feel like it's the same way. And it's the same way that people will think that their audience is sick of hearing about it, but it's like really they've only seen it like one time. Like they
Literally.
that they know nothing about it.
I know, I see that so often with brand owners, is like not wanting to repeat themselves, but repetition is what creates your brand in someone's brain. Like you would know, you know, like you do really need to repeat yourself, and as a brand owner, you're the only one that thinks that story is boring. Or, I mean, you probably don't think it's boring, but the repeating of it and needs to be repetition in the way your brand looks, sounds, feels, everything like
all
that.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you were like suggesting, or if you had like a small brand or something, and you had no PR experience, where would you kind of say to like go from there? Because I feel like this is the thing that I sometimes struggle with too. I'll be like, yeah, you have a really cool story, but it's like, I don't have the connections on who you should pitch that to. And I feel like that's where people then get stuck, because it's like,
it feels too big. Yeah. You're like, how do I get from here to here?
Yeah.
I think really starting in your circle and your community, and I think not taking any connection for granted. Like everyone always says it's who you know, but you don't know who you know, you know? So I think, you know, as an example, I work for a local coffee shop. What would they do with PR? We talk to every single local customer about what we're doing, if we're doing a new event, if we're doing a new product, if we're doing a new blend of coffee, anything like that. We'll always talk to whoever comes through the door. You don't know if old mate the plumber has a sister-in-law who has a friend who works for the Courier Mail. Like you just don't know. So leaning on your local community, and also in that example, like it's the old school marketing tactics that people have shied away from in the past because it's the digital age. But it is really coming back. It's like letterbox dropping, posting posters everywhere. It's, you know, we're doing stickers, QR codes, you know, and with that letterbox drop, it's within their local area. It's still really leaning on the local community, going to networking events in that local area, just getting your name out there. If you've got no connections, you need to make connections if that is your long-term brand goal. You know, you just honestly have to get yourself out there, and those are such small, low budget, simple ways to do that, especially if you're already open in a location, or if you already have a brand, you've made that step, you've got a business, it's a startup. What are you going to do now to get the word out there? You're going to do your socials, you're going to do your website, you're going to do all that, but outside of that, it's really making those extra efforts to build that community.
And this is something I feel like I find myself also recommending to brands a lot of the time as well, is even though I'm come from background of all things digital, I'm like, do things offline. I'm like, it's so fun and it's what people are craving is community. So it's like, do like a fun event and like collab with someone and like I saw that Daily Blooms, like the florist brand, they did an event semi-recently and it was like with a yoga studio and it was all about like self-love, and like they did cute little like custom like mirror decals and everyone got flowers and it was really cute, and I'm like, it's pretty low budget, like it's easy enough to implement, but it's also like you can invite your community, invite people who you think are going to post about it and get good reach and you can connect with them. But also it's really good content and then you can maximize it on your socials.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, it's things like this, but I just feel like sometimes brands will just really not think outside of the box. They'll be like, oh, let me just like do whatever every Instagram guru is telling me I should do. And like, it's like, if you really hate posting like reels and doing trends and stuff like that, don't do it. Like do fun, different things.
You could build a whole marketing strategy around not doing anything online these days. Honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but it's just like still through it all, the very number one method of marketing has always been word of mouth. It always has been, and it always will be. And I think that those collaborations and events and like old school PR is how you can create word of mouth if you really hate doing anything digital. Like you genuinely, like obviously doing it all is ideal, but if you want to start somewhere that's not online. But I will say, like, the online efforts really do work hand in hand with the offline efforts. I think you need to be doing both.
I'm definitely a big believer that it's like it needs to tie in together. And also it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a pick so it didn't happen kind of thing. Like it's like, why are you doing like a fun, really cool event and not telling anyone about it? Like, like it's like if you're making it cute and everything, get everyone posting about it. And I feel like it's the same way as if you're sending out PR and stuff to people, you want to give them an incentive to post about it because one, that will like maximize reach, but it also kind of creates a bit of FOMO because people will be like, wait, that was really cool. I want that. And then get it as well. And this is something that I try to like drill through the heads of my clients, but sometimes it falls short because I'm such a details person. But I just, I'm like, I know that all those little things really matter. And so it's the same way as if you're doing like a trade show, an expo or something like that. I had a client recently who was doing like an expo and she was like, oh, I'm going to get one of those like photo thingies where people can like take a photo in it. And I was like, oh yeah, like I was like, that's kind of cool, but I was like, no one's gonna post about it because they don't want to. Like, I'm like, people today,
like,
they're
not gonna put that on their feed.
They don't want to put that on their feed or on their story. Like, give something really cute. You want to take a photo of it. Versus an event I went to last year. It was in a launch event for this like wellness space. Gorgeous. And it's so aesthetic and beautiful and amazing. And they did really cute goodie bags that had like brands that they aligned with in there. And then they also had their like mirror set up and it had this really cute like decal on there, and it was like something about like your daily rituals, and it also had like their socials like tag underneath, but everyone took like a photo in the little mirror, and it looked cute because it was like you're taking a photo for you, but it wasn't like overly branded, like it still blended really well. And that's the kind of thing I'm like, brands need to do that, like make it look beautiful, because it's like you really need to think from your customer's perspective. Why are they going to want to put that on there?
Why would they take a photo? You need to make it photo worthy. Yeah. That's so true. One, working with brands that you're aligned with, like, but you're not in competition with. Yeah. That's really important. Like, you know, everyone likes to say community over competition, and that is really important. But when it comes to brand collaborations and PR stunts and things like that, you definitely want to work with a brand that's not in competition with you in the same industry. It's just other brands. And the reason for that isn't, you know, because we can't work together if we're in the same industry. the reason for that is you want to leverage off another brand's community and customers that haven't been exposed to you yet, but also have the same values as your brand. So that's really amazing, and that's something to keep in mind if you're ever doing any collaborations or events or anything like that. Then the other thing you said about creating photo-worthy moments, then therefore creating like PR and word of mouth and digital social proof is the rise of guerrilla marketing as well. So that I would say is another form of PR. Is like, I spoke to one client a few years ago about so they're a skincare brand, but they really challenged the norms of skincare. And we're going to put like a bathtub full of plants in the middle of the city.
Oh my gosh.
Branded with their branding. We never did it, but things like that. And I see like people like Beginning Boutique do it really well. And I mean, lots of brands do it really well, but just like putting random things around the city sort of thing to create a moment. There's a really good PR agency in Sydney that I love that always does weird and wacky things and takes over Bondi Beach and things like that for a brand, creating those photo-worthy moments, you know, and some of them can be completely done on a low budget.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you do need some sort of budget. Even if you're just sending out PR packages, I feel like that creating something that has attention to detail, you know, you could probably have a really, really strong PR strategy if you had a couple of $1,000s a year to spend on it.
Yeah. I also feel like it's, you know, it's money well spent, because obviously every area of your marketing is an investment.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time brands will invest a lot of money into like their product and the manufacturing, the development, testing, all these things. And then the marketing is just like $10 and a stick of gum. Like it's like nothing.
And like the amount of times over the years that I've had to explain to people, like even someone who's hired me in-house, I'm like, well, what's the marketing budget? I'm hired as a marketing manager with no marketing budget.
Yeah.
How do you expect me to do anything? I have to do everything for free because their marketing budget was my wage. So I'm like, okay. So then that's how you learn how to be strategic, create partnerships within the community, get things going. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's why it's PR, and like not just thinking traditional PR of like, you know, pitching and getting like stories and things like that in publications, but it's like things like guerrilla marketing and like making these moments is where it's at. It's really strong because you can kind of like, also it's a bit of an illusion.
Yeah.
You can make it seem really exciting and cool. And it's like the same way as, you know, if you've got like $1,000, if a brand does that, and you're gonna, you know, pour it into ads or something and be like, cool, I'm gonna target a bunch of these people, and it might like do nothing with it because it's really competitive with ads and stuff now. Also, there's a whole process of like how you're like, I don't know, I really hate ads. Anyway, but I'm like, if you do something super fun with like, you've made a really exciting unboxing experience for like a PR package. You're not even sending out like heaps and heaps of it, but you're like being really thoughtful about who you're sending it to, thinking like the type of content that they usually post on their stories. Is this something that they would take a photo of and post it? If there's someone who has like a really curated aesthetic and it's not going to match, they're probably not going to post about it unless it matches with that aesthetic.
With their aesthetic.
Yeah. And so you like, when you think about these things, you can make it super, super strategic.
You can.
And then it's like, you can get more out of that as well. Or even if you're, you know, doing something like in the city, like a campaign or something like that. If you're shooting everything and putting your budget into making sure you're getting all the content, like that'll be content that will last you a while and you can keep talking
the
about
content's
it.
always evergreen and people will always remember that you did that.
Yeah.
But it's also, just as you said, you know, sending it to people can be really strategic. You need to be strategic in figuring out who your target audience is, because that will significantly determine your whole marketing efforts, but especially your PR. So, and not only your target audience, but the objective behind what you're trying to do. Like, are you just trying to send this product out because you've got no content out of it? You're shocking behind the camera. You don't know how to edit a reel. Send out your product to content creators that have less than 10,000 followers, and they will send you content back, and most of the time for free.
Yeah.
I don't want to actually say like for free because you never know, but it's very, very affordable and it's user generated content then that your brand can use of your product. That's such a smart way to do it. In saying that, then that comes into, so your objective is, I've got this product, I have no content, going to send it to these content creators.
Yep.
Amazing. So then who are you going to pick? There's millions of content creators out there, right? And all so good. My target audience is mums and bubs, right? That narrows it down. Then you have to spend time researching which content creators or influencers or anything like that suit your target market, suit your aesthetic, send it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's no point sending it to, what if I send it to some gym bros? No one's going to, like, that's not the target audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, even though we like sort of mentioned like Kylie Jenner before,
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be the Kylie Jenner.
Oh, it's your Kylie Jenner.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your Kylie Jenner? Figure it out.
And it's like sometimes even if someone has like a smaller community, it might be like a really close-knit community.
Yeah.
So you also have to think like someone might have heaps and heaps of followers, but you go and look at their followers and they're all bots and no one's actually liking their posts and stuff. So then it's like you really need to do your due diligence when you're working on like a lean budget especially.
Oh,
and
I
make
agree.
sure that everything is like you're getting the most out of it. Because in the same way that it's like for UGC things, like, you know, you might send product and it's like a gifted collab. So they're probably going to do it for free.
Yeah.
And like it's more likely if they've got like a small audience because they're growing and it's mutually beneficial for them to just receive the product because they get more experience creating content. But, you know, if you do a gifted collab to someone who's more experienced and they've grown, you should probably expect to like do like something more paid with them.
Yeah.
But you're going to get something better out of it that you'll be able to use. So it's kind of like weighing up your options as well.
Absolutely. And feel empowered to ask any content creator for their media kit. If they're really green and they're literally just a really aesthetic person creating content, you're like, that is exactly what I want on their, what they're creating on their personal Instagram. That's still fine. They'll probably not know what a media kit is because I've worked with lots of content creators that don't. So basically what it is, then you ask them for their Instagram analytics for the exact same reason you just said. Like also, you know, on the sticking with the same example of a product that's for mums and bubs, then I ask the mum that I'm like, what's your media kit? She's like, I don't know what a media kit is. I'm like, can you please screenshot your Instagram analytics for the last 90 days? No worries. She's got all male followers. Okay. Wrong one. Like we don't want to be targeting male followers just for that particular product. So that's where their media kits and Instagram analytics will come in. And also, you know, the reason why it doesn't necessarily matter how many followers they have these days is because with the way that the social algorithms are working, your content can be sent out to anybody. It doesn't really matter how many followers you've got. So I always also look at their engagement levels, whether people are commenting and sharing their content. That's a big one for me that I look for. I look for the right target audience demographic within their audience and that their audience is engaged in what they're posting. Happy days. You're all good. I'll send the product to you. And this can work with a product-based business or a service-based business. So with the cafe, we often invite people in to try like new menu items for free. You know, it's really, this is where, you know, no, you can't do everything for free. So that is a cost to the business. So just recently they launched a new smoothie and we had like a list of 10 people that we reached out to that could come in and get a smoothie for free if they posted content. But that's obviously a loss for the business in terms of smoothie ingredients and cost and everything. But then we got content of the new smoothie and other people were posting on their Instagram about the new smoothie. And then that's how it goes. And then everyone's like, oh my God, you've got a new smoothie. Now this week we've sold the most of that smoothie that we have, you know? And so that works for service and product. You can work our way around that.
And I really love that because there's like a lot of different elements to it and what makes it so good because yes, it's like, you know, you're having to spend money, maybe like wages, ingredients, all the things on getting those customers in and giving them things for free, but it's like it's not really free, like it's an investment. It's the same way as if you were going to spend on any other area of your marketing. You're just choosing to spend it in this way. Just because the ROI doesn't seem as cut and dry and simple and straightforward doesn't mean it's not still worthwhile. But the other thing I really love about that is that it is rewarding your community and like your loyal customers. Because I always like, it's a pet peeve of mine when brands really prioritize new customers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, here's all your discounts, come and shop with us. And then once you are a customer, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're already here. But it's like you can't really just go off the fact that you think that people will stay loyal to you forever. Like, you want to give them reasons to. And really, there are like people who will love your brand. And it's like, you know, don't take that for granted. Like, you really want to reward your community. And like doing little activations and cute things like that, like it really doesn't take much as a brand to do that and like to involve people in the process. And obviously, if you're like 100% e-com brand, like you don't have a brick and mortar place for people to come in.
Yeah.
And you're not doing an event. There's still other ways, like where I really love when brands involve their community with like the design process of things and like ask for feedback when they're like doing products, and then it makes people feel involved.
Yeah.
And then when you do launch, like if you do a launch event or something like that, or you're sending out PR, you have people who are interested and primed and they're going to rave about your brand.
Yeah, they're invested before it even comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, you know, it's merging online and offline. It's offline feelings with online content.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And investment in a brand, you know, it starts with the more invested that your followers are, the more they're going to talk about you. And then that comes back to the best form of marketing, which is word of mouth.
Yes.
So
Exactly. It all
comes back around. It all comes back to that.
Yeah.
You just want to get the most amount of people talking about you. That's it. That's basically it. You just want the most people to know you and talk about you and love your brand.
Yeah. And like the best way to do that is to just like keep things fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a mistake that brands make a lot is just getting really comfortable or like they're starting a brand, and so there's so many things that are overwhelming, like, but it feels exciting, like where you're like, yeah, I'm ticking off, you know, I've registered my business name and I've done this and I've got the product, and then it's like, okay, I need to market it and I don't know what to do, and then you're kind of already like you're already tired and you don't know what steps to do next. You're like, I've already I've made my website, like I'm doing so much, and it's like, okay, well that's nothing. It's really the bare minimum. Like you really need to be doing so much more, and like it's not even in a competitive way, because I feel like sometimes people get really like, oh, it's so much to keep up with, like so much happening, but it's like it's not trying to keep up. Like the only person you're really competing with is yourself. Yeah. It's like you just want to keep it fresh and exciting so that it's like your customers stay engaged with what's happening. And you'd never want to like fall into the cracks of like being just another run-of-the-mill brand. Yeah. So
you're doing yourself a disservice. If you're going to go to the effort of being a business owner in this day and age, then you may as well give it a full crack. Like, I think that, you're just doing yourself a disservice if you don't try. And you're exactly right. Like, yes, you have your logo on your website, but that doesn't mean people are going to start coming to your website. Everything ties in with each other. And you just can't stop if you're exhausted. It's like, sorry, you're still going.
And it's also, I think, sometimes people can't take the ego hit of it. Like it's either that you don't think your story is interesting enough, or people think their story is super interesting before they've even told it. And it's like you actually forget that people haven't connected with you at all. Like they don't know anything about you. So yes, you might have this really pretty logo and your website looks great because you've put a lot of time and energy into it, but no one knows why they're supposed to care yet, because you haven't given them a reason to care. So they don't know why they want to follow you and why you're so great and all these things.
You've got to keep the momentum going. And that comes back to what I said before. If you get, on the Today Show, that's amazing. If you're on Shark Tank, all good. But it's just not one and done. Like you have to keep going. Are you in it for the long run? You have to keep looking for new things to do, new things to keep your audience engaged. Like people have such a short attention span these days. I do agree with that. But also people get really invested in the brands that they love because they have so much access to them. Yeah. Like that clothing brand that's just gone viral on TikTok at the moment, Sabby. I think that's it. I'm not too sure. But like they're so popular. I was asking someone like that really loved the brand. I was like, so what about the brand has got you so invested in it? She's like, he just, he posts the whole process, like his art. It's his art on a t-shirt, so it's so unique. And like they're having issues at this time with keeping in stock because they've grown so much that they just, I think she was telling me like, and they're posting all of this stuff on TikTok. She's invested. She's, she said like, she was in the car driving and this Christmas shirt was dropping and she was like, set an alarm. She has to get it. Like her partner was on the phone. It sold out in like 45 seconds because they had been keeping their audience updated on this whole process. And then they got on TikTok after it sold out. They said, sorry, we just cannot keep up with the demand. Like they're so honest. They're so raw. Their audience is so invested that even though it's so annoying that your favorite shirt sells out in 45 seconds, they're just like, okay, that makes them want them more. The shirts are selling for more money on buy swap sell pages. Like nothing is too boring and you just have to keep your audience invested. If you're going to keep your audience invested through social content, through PR stunts, through, you know, always being on the Today Show, like however you want to do it, you just have to find a way to keep your audience wanting
And I think it's such a big part of like creating like a cult-like community. Like, you want people to shop your drops like it's Taylor Swift tickets, like where they will drop absolutely everything to try and get
Literally.
it. And that's what separates you from being just like another brand that sells products like, oh, I have to get this, so I'll get it here, where it's like you want it. And it's a lot of the time it's like it's not something you need. Like it's a t-shirt. You can get whatever t-shirt, but it's like making people want that one. And it all really comes down to like it's just like the experience. It's emotions. Like people are connected with like you in particular, and then it makes you want it. And I know I'm someone who shops like that. Like I shop off the vibes. Like I want to love the brand, and like when they do little extra special things that make you feel really like, oh my gosh, they like see me and they like appreciate me and everything like that, makes you feel part of something.
I know.
And it's so much better.
I know. And this is just, it's the same in every industry. I can go to 7-Eleven and get a $1 coffee, but instead I walk 4 doors down, go to my favorite coffee shop, get greeted. Hello, Lillie. Like they know my order. It's such a great experience. Smells good in there. The people are nice. I don't know. It's like, doesn't matter what industry you're in. You know, people can always get probably like what you're selling somewhere else. But why would they come to you?
Exactly. And it's like the right people will, because you're always going to have like, there'll always be someone whose mindset is like, oh, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. I can get it like a different one somewhere. But it's like, that's not your audience. Like your audience is those people who are really invested and they want to feel part of something. That's what they're craving. So they're going to go for that. And I feel like this is what startups can really lean into as their superpower, because that is what makes you different from like a big Beyonce type brand, like who, you know, can't get back to everyone's comments and DMs and things. But when you are that startup, even if you are growing, you can give that experience by replying to people's DMs and investing in those little things and elements that makes people feel seen, because they're like, oh, this brand's growing, but they still like replied to my comment and they still like answered my DM like personally. It's not just like a bot replying to me or something. And it makes it feel so special. I have beef with robots.
We all have beef with robots.
But yeah, so like it makes it so much more special. So then it's like, don't overlook those parts that is what will separate you, because it's like, yes, someone can go and shop from a brand that they already like, are like, yeah, they're really big and trusted and it's going to be really easy and cheaper or whatever the reason is. But if you can really maximize on like the tools you have in your toolkit, make you stand out. And like that, you're a startup brand, so you might not have the same resources, but you have a whole other level of resources and like levels of community that you can build that make you stand out.
Exactly. So, levels of community, making someone feel a part of something, no matter how big or small your business is. I think that is just the crux of PR.
And it's like, instead of thinking about like what you don't have, think of what you do have.
Exactly.
How you can really use that.
Even if you have one customer that comes in every single day, you know, that is loyalty. He or she has 10 people that they've probably told about your business. So all of a sudden you've got 11 people invested in your story now. Like, don't take anyone for granted, especially if they're investing in your brand at the very beginning. And you want to keep those people along with you as you grow.
That's like one of my favorite brands. I buy all my jeans from this brand called Peach A. And she makes jeans that fit like your waist and your hips. Like it's like the sizing. So it's amazing, really cool. And like the idea was great and everything too. But then she like backs it up by her brand experience is amazing. Like you really feel like you're part of this close-knit community. And I like found her like a few years ago. So she was smaller, but she still had like a few thousand followers. So she was growing. But I remember I shopped her jeans. I would like post photos and she would like reply and everything, like made you feel really seen. She was always really accommodating. And it wasn't just to me. It was like to other people she was the same way. It wasn't like she's like playing favorites to you.
Yeah.
And then when Christmas rolled around, she sent like a little like tote bag gift to me, like from like a brand on Etsy. It was really cute. And it was just like she wrote a little handwritten like note with it too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I had bought probably like, they're like $200 something jeans.
Yeah.
But I had bought maybe 1 or 2 pairs because I found it and I loved her product and it was really good. But I was like that little extra detail of like being like, oh, I'm rewarding like the people who like really care about my brand and like in the community. It's so nice. And it's like,
it's so nice. People love to be, it's a surprise and delight thing, you know? Even like I've seen TikToks of brands who call their most loyal customers to like thank them.
Yeah.
And obviously like if you have a customer that's purchased over and over again, they love your brand. So when they pick up the phone and hear from the brand owner, it's just like a whole nother level. And that really is a whole nother level. But a handwritten note, you know, at the coffee shop, writing on the top of the lid like have a good day, little things like that all play into the brand experience. And then if you're going to have an event, it's like just remembering the people in your community. So I helped one of my clients, I helped them to plan a launch event for their shop, and I said, invite all the trades that worked on the fit out, invite like your friends and family, invite the local community, invite industry professionals, invite influencers. Like it's the whole ecosystem of community, from, you know, your mum and dad to someone with 100,000 followers. Like everyone means something to your brand and you need to include them all.
That's huge, because it's like people wouldn't really think about inviting like the trades like who work on it, but it's like that's so important.
Well,
and word of mouth is everywhere.
Exactly.
Like you said,
it's the word of mouth, like making them feel important and included. Like this was a shop fit out that they put time and effort into. Thanking them, making sure that they're invited, they're included, and they'll probably be a loyal brand customer.
So true.
You know?
I love that so much. And a lot of it really comes down to thoughtfulness.
Like, it's just being nice.
Yeah, you got to think about the details. What you want.
Yeah, your customers are everything.
Yeah, love that. Love. Oh my gosh, amazing. To wrap things up, maybe you can like tell me what your like best tips would be to like if you had a brand and you were, you know, wanting to really maximize your reach, like what would be your go-to move?
Cool. If I was starting up any sort of shop, the offline things that I would do are, host a launch party and invite all those people that I just said. Make sure it's super aesthetic. Everyone's going to be taking photos. That's your launch to Instagram as well. Or maybe you've launched before that, but that's like telling everyone I'm here. Posters, letterbox drop, some sort of like, I've always loved the idea of like handing out beach umbrellas on a hot day at the beach, and then like you put the umbrellas up and they're all just like your brand, like some sort of like activation like that. Like for another client a couple of years ago, we put like a plane in the sky on Australia Day that had their Instagram tag.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Like things like that is actually not that expensive once you look into it, but something big, and then keep the momentum going by just reaching out to the community. I would like involve those smaller content creators to help me get the reach out. I would send the story out to the press and the media, because another whole audience of people is going to see it in those publications. I would make it a really good whole brand experience no matter what. And I think as your brand evolves, the type of things that you want to do also evolve. So there's always things that you can be doing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I love that so much. Thank you. You had such good advice and tips and everything, and really brought together like the whole ecosystem of all the like PR things.
I'm all about the ecosystem, all the pieces of the marketing pie.
So true. Delicious.
All of it works.
Pie.
Yeah.
And that's so the way it is. It's like I've made analogies to like marketing as a pie before, but I'm like, it's like your recipe and your ingredients can like differ a bit, but the base of it, the foundations are the same.
Yeah.
Like where you've got to have really solid foundations.
Yeah.
And then you add your extra pizzazz with
Yeah.
like the fun way that you're doing things.
Totally. And what I said earlier, like you can do more offline than online if you want, or you can do all online and a little bit offline,
Yeah.
or it just doesn't matter as long as you're doing a little bit of like a couple of different things.
Yeah.
Not all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Like spread it out. Spread
Spread
the
it out.
love.
Spread the love.
Yes. Love that.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you. If you want to connect with Lillie, which you definitely do, you can find her on Instagram at Lillie Isabella Studio. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. The other 4 episodes of this 5-episode mini-series on breaking up with your boring brand are out now, ready for you to binge. If you love this ep, please share it with a friend. You can gently tell them it's the wake-up call their marketing is feeling a bit boresome, or pretend it's totally unrelated. If you can't get enough of me, connect with me on socials at Goodhearted Studio. I love to chat and yap and help raise the voices of good-hearted brands with a mission to make the world a better place. Okay, love you, bye.